The state of Vermont might be the most committed of all 50 to the pursuit of outdoor recreation. It is among the most beautiful corners of the planet and is a veritable playground for those who see the earth as a giant sandbox of sorts. Within the Green Mountain State are several well-established communities long recognized for their cultivation of outdoor pursuits, and it's looking like they're going to need to make way for the new kid on the block. Welcome to Poultney, Vermont. Poultney is in the heart of the Slate Valley, an aptly named stretch of mountains and hills along the border of New York and Vermont. Recent circumstances, including the closure of Green Mountain College, have spurred a growing interest in the development of an extensive trail network in town funded by private benefactors. Sure, plenty of other Vermont communities might have gotten a head start with trail development, but Poultney has legs and is headed straight toward the sharp end of the pack. But if I don't see now, or even know why, it's only awful as the hell that you know. Islands want to coast, don't know how, yet they'll know how. Oh, oh,
I'm Katrin Maloney. My husband and I, Hardy Avery, own a company called Sustainable Trailworks. We build mountain bike trails. Our main job right now is here in Poultney, Vermont. I also do some consulting work for a local family foundation in sort of community development stuff and building the recreation economy.
My name's Chris Smid, and I work at the New England Slate Company, where we manufacture and distribute roofing slate that's quarried right here in the valley that gives Slate Valley Trails its name, right?
So my name is Nate Freund, and I have multiple professions, but I'm self-employed. I own a bike shop and restaurant and 4 other restaurants and do some stuff with real estate in the area.
I like to think of Poultney as being very real, right? I mean, still farming, logging, quarrying are still very active here, and people are super down to earth, hardworking, friendly. So it hasn't blown up, it hasn't been overdeveloped. It's still just a rural Vermont town with really decent people. So great place to raise a family, and I've been really thankful to be able to raise my family here. And finding work can be tough. It's not a booming economy. There's not a lot of economic activity, which in some ways is great because it keeps things kind of mellow, but it's also a challenge in terms of people trying to make a living.
It is very authentic here and quiet. We moved here from Morrisville near Stowe, and I was working in Stowe at the time, and it was actually a little shocking to move down here, to be quite honest. Like, just the change in culture was a little bit shocking. I remember, just trying to ease into the business world down here and sending some emails and kind of getting no response for maybe like 3, 4, 5 days. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really different. And kind of getting a little miffed about it, but then I was kind of like thinking about it. I was like, well, actually, this is really cool because that means I don't need to respond, instantaneously to every email that comes in my inbox. And so the pace of life is definitely a little bit slower, but I think there's more time for connecting with people, with relationships, with spending time with your family and stuff that's real and stuff that's important, and just kind of pushing aside all the bull,
I mean, there are literally days in the spring where the chairlift is running, the boat is, the boat's in the water, the lake is good, and the trails are ready to roll. So it's a really nice location. It's a great spot to live if you want to recreate outdoors. And that is one thing that I know you can do it in a lot of places in Vermont, but here in particular, there's all these beautiful, amazing trail networks popping up. And so now the mountain biking has really started firing. I mean, the skiing and the lakes were always here, but now the mountain biking is sort of starting to take hold. And I think now it's drawing some more eyes from outside saying, wow, look at Poultney, look at Castleton, look at Pittsfield, Vermont, look at all these, look at Rochester, Vermont, these places that are typically overlooked because they're not like a tourist destination.
We have really deep valleys and steep, craggy rock faces, which make for great scenery and great trail building terrain. We have some unique vegetation because we're a little bit further south and west, so the types of oak trees and kind of the lower Champlain Basin vegetation is a little different than what you'd see certainly up the high elevations around Killington or Stowe. So yeah, some different landforms, different vegetation, and just a different feel. It's more, the hills aren't quite as high, but they're super steep. So there's lots of up and down and pockets of little pools and wetlands and trails kind of connecting them all.
If the trials in here are really getting you down, we had a close call. I didn't even see it, then another one. I hardly believed it at all. And what the riders say, it means shit to me now. Plants and animals, we are on a bender when it's 80 degrees. The end of December, what's going on? Only for you and me. And the showing up here is going back to the south. We're hungry next that I know, and running the blender in a lightning storm. Our disguise is a blessing, I'm sure. And knowing ahead, there comes a fork in the road. Pants have gotta go. We are on an island on the 4th of July. It looks like the tide is going home.
When Green Mountain College closed a few years ago, there were a series of community meetings held to try to help the community figure out what to do next, how to move forward. And certainly the college was privately held, and the community could not control who bought it or what went on in the property. But the community could figure out, okay, how are we going to push ourselves forward? This has happened to us, but what are we going to do to take ourselves into the future? And Slate Valley Trails was already in existence and growing at that time, and there was an overwhelming show of support for outdoor recreation as an economic driver for the area. People at that time already recognized the value it could have, and that's only grown over the last several years. And certainly we have the Great Lakes for boating and swimming and recreating. Skiing's not too far away, but the mountain biking and general outdoor trail network has really filled a gap in the seasons that allows the connection of all those sports and all the seasons. So people have definitely latched onto it. There are definitely visitors coming from further and further away, bringing in money. People are starting to have Airbnbs targeted at the outside mountain bikers coming in. The restaurants are starting to say, hey, it's great. We see the parking area filled up with bike racks in the evenings. So there's definitely an impact.
We've grown from, that initial 5 miles, 7 miles at Endless Brook to probably 37 miles at this point. And we have another 8 or 10 miles planned to build. So kind of what we thought the land could sustain, what would make sense for like a fully built out network on this particular parcel is about like 45 to 50 miles.
I've been really surprised how the people you would least expect to be outdoor recreation enthusiasts of all of a sudden come out of the woodwork, families that have lived here forever. I was pumping gas in Castleton the other day, and there's a guy that lives up near, on an orchard in my town he's a welder. He drives around with a mobile welding rig, and he welds large equipment in the quarries, and that's his profession, and he's been here his whole life. His father, his grandfather. Came up to me, I had a mountain bike in the back. He's like, oh, hey. I know him because he's done work for me. He's like, hey, Nate, yeah, how's the trails at your house coming? He's like, yeah, I used to remember riding BMXs, out in Poultney in the woods. He's like, I heard there's great trails. And I think people are sort of enamored with the idea of the land being used and not sort of in a wholesome way. The people around here, a lot of them hunt and fish, and so they appreciate the forest. And I think the fact that mountain bikers and anglers and hunters and all these, we sort of all appreciate the same natural beauty and aspects of the woods. And it seems like it's moving in the right direction.
I think being out in the woods, smelling the dirt, working on the trails, working with other people to support that network, be it business owners or volunteers or businesses that are helping out, trying to pull all that together and make it sustainable, it's a great community of people, and I enjoy being part of that tremendously. And I think that's super important. That community feeling is so lost today, I feel like, and that interaction with people face to face, and nothing is better than having that beer on the tailgate after a work day or after a good ride, and you're hanging out with your friends and chatting about whatever you just did. That sort of community building is priceless to me, and no amount of likes or social media posts can replicate that.
To me, some of my my best friends in the world, and some of the, almost everybody, we all of us convene over cycling. So the woods to me is our spot, or certain trails or certain memories you make on certain trails are things that have carried with us and have created lifelong friendships for me. So I know that every little rock and route can be like a story or something to bond over with people. That's why it's so important to me. Yeah.
It's a way to connect myself and other people with the natural resources. And if you are out there and you're connecting with it, then you're going to want to take care of it, kind of thing. So just inspiring stewardship of the land, just the health aspects. So seeing people outside, getting exercise, it's critical for our communities. We need more of that. And kids, I think, are excited, for instance, about biking. It's a fun thing. So if any way we can get kids out there exercising and enjoying the outside, that's so important for our community. And then obviously there's the whole economic aspect. So I think all those threads just are, they're part of what I believe in as a person, and it just all comes together in mountain biking, I guess.
mountain bike history is new, and in the years to come, it'll be exciting to see where the community takes it. But for now, it's clear that they have all the right pieces in place. Beautiful terrain, motivated people, and rad trails. It might have taken them some time to get to the intersection of life and bikes, but it certainly looks like they're here to stay.